Hello everyone, got 5 dirty jokes for you today. So a man was coming home from work later and later, and his wife started to get suspicious. "Why are you always coming home so late?" she asked her husband one night. "Because I'm working overtime," the man answered. The wife said nothing. But next week she confronted her husband again. "Tell me truth. What do you really do after you get off from work? Do not lie to me. I know something is up." "I already told you." "I'm at work the whole time and I come straight home," the man repeated calmly. But the wife still wasn't convinced. Finally, she hired a private detective to follow her husband around. The detective came back to her and said, "Your husband goes to work at 9 a.m. and leaves the office at 8:30 p.m. He doesn't go anywhere else in the meantime." But the wife still wasn't happy. There must be something else to it. Find out what he actually does in the office. The detective went to work and reported back to the wife. "I spoke to your husband's boss and his coworkers. He works the whole day. He actually works harder than anyone else in the whole company. He barely takes time off to eat lunch. He practically slaves away from morning till night." When the wife heard this, she felt embarrassed and teared up. She went to her husband and embraced him in her arms. "I'm so sorry I ever doubted you, my love. Here I was thinking you were up to something no good and all you were doing was telling me the truth. I'm so ashamed of myself. Can you ever forgive me?" "Of course. I'm just glad you finally came to your senses." "I hope we can now put this behind us," the husband replied while holding his wife. That night, as the couple was getting ready for bed, the wife suddenly had a thought. "But darling, why do you work such long hours without breaks?" "To earn more money, of course." "But why? Don't we already have everything we need?" This time the husband loses his patience. "For God's sake, woman. Do you have any idea how hard it is to support 2 families and a gay lover in this economy? Now stop asking stupid questions and go to sleep." So a man was riding the train across the country when suddenly everything started rocking violently. People were being thrown out of their seats and luggage was flying everywhere. Then, as suddenly as it started, everything is back to the calm, smooth ride he was used to. Everyone sorted themselves out and found seats again. When they reached the next stop, the man went forward to the engine car and asked the conductor what had happened. The conductor replied, "We hit a lawyer." The man couldn't believe it. "You mean hitting a person caused that?" The conductor looked at him and explained, "Well, he was in the ditch, but we got him anyways." So there was a man that had a terrible hate for lawyers. Like, he really hated any and all lawyers he met. And as such, every time he was out driving his car, he would go out of his way to hit them. It didn't matter when or where. If he saw a lawyer, he just had to run them over. The man, however, was also a pious man. One day while driving, he saw the local priest out walking. The man stopped his car next to the priest and offered him a ride to the church where he was going. The priest gracefully accepted, and off they went. It didn't take long before the man spotted a lawyer walking down the road and immediately set out to hit him. Just before running the lawyer over, he did, however, remember his passenger, the priest, being with him. He swerved back quickly, as not to reach the lawyer, but still heard a solid bump, despite being sure he had avoided the lawyer completely. The man, now filled with shame of his sin, turned to the priest and said, "Father, I must confess, I hit that lawyer in pure hate. Can you forgive me?" The priest looked at him and answered, "It's okay, my son. I got him with the door." So an atheist man married a devout Catholic woman. The woman insisted they have a full Catholic wedding, led by a priest and including the sacrament. The man loved her, so he capitulated. Every Sunday, the woman insisted they attend Mass. The man loved her, so he capitulated. When their children were born, the woman insisted on a Catholic christening and baptism. The man loved her, so he capitulated. When she got cancer, the woman insisted that she go to a Catholic hospital and have a priest pray for her and anoint her with oil. The man loved her, so he capitulated. On her deathbed, the woman insisted that her husband promise to give her a Catholic burial and have a verse of scripture engraved on the stone. The man, weary from many years of yielding to her religious demands, nevertheless capitulated one last time. And so, good to his word, on her gravestone was written, Matthew 22:27. Finally, the woman died. So a guy gets a new dog, a nice Jewish dog. He names the dog Einstein and trains Einstein to do a couple of tricks. He can't wait to show Einstein off to his neighbor. A few weeks later, when the neighbor finally comes over, the guy calls Einstein into the house, bragging about how smart he is. The dog quickly comes running and stands looking up at his master, tail wagging excitedly, mouth open, tongue hanging out, eyes bright with anticipation. The guy points to the newspaper on the couch and commands fetch. Immediately, the dog climbs onto the couch and sits, his tail wagging furiously. Then all of a sudden, he stops. His doggy smile disappears. He starts to frown and puts on a sour face. Looking up at his master, he whines, "You think this is easy, wagging my tail all the time, and you think it's easy eating that junk that you call designer dog food? Forget it. It's too salty and it gives me gas. It's disgusting, I tell you." The neighbor is absolutely amazed. In astonishment, he says, "I can't believe it. Einstein can speak. Your dog actually talks. You asked him to fetch the newspaper and he is sitting on the sofa talking to us." I know, says the dog owner. "He's not fully trained yet. He thought I said kvetch."